Hello, everybody. We're so excited to be back with you all after 2 weeks. Did you miss us? We missed you all
We
so
missed
much.
y'all.
It feels like fornevers, like we used to say when we were kids. But it does make it's been a very long time. So we first want to say thank you for allowing us time to rest. We had we won't say we, my sisters were covering. It was me. I had some health things going on and I had to take care of myself the week before last. And then for a good deal of us here in the Southeast, well, we got a visit from Deacon Hurricane Ian came on through.
He don't get no title. He don't get no title.
And so we had to sot down because well, we didn't have any Wi-Fi. We didn't have any Wi-Fi. We didn't have any Wi-Fi.
No power, no electricity, nothing.
We need a little bit of electricity to run the Wi-Fi. So we wasn't able to do the show, but we pray that number one, everybody that's listening to us were safe, that your families were safe, and that there was no damage to your home or your property. Or at least that you wasn't like me and came downstairs and had water in your living room and had to mop it all up.
We didn't have that, thankfully.
Mopping is one of the least favorite household chores that exists to me in my world, so I was not thrilled about that. And where I live, I have wood floors, and I have always complained that I don't have carpet. And I will say, for the first time in 3 years, I was grateful that I don't have carpet, because I really would have had a fit if I had wet carpet. And it wasn't that it was soaking wet, it's just that it was wet. And so thankfully it wasn't really, really bad. So, but there was no major damage, and all is well. Our family was well, we were safe, and ate up all my hurricane snacks, because down here you have to get your hurricane snacks ahead of time and hunker on down. So hurricane
we hunkered.
Snacks. We hunkered. Donnie, how are you all? It didn't touch you all there in Arkansas though, did it?
No, we didn't get affected.
Oh,
okay. Well, that's at least one of us wasn't.
But they're usually getting rain and storms though when it's not us. So we gave y'all a break. We took it.
At least the part of Arkansas that I'm in didn't get affected.
And it was so funny because I was like, oh, they keep talking about Florida. It's we might get a little rain, whatever. It's like I'm in like the middle of typing something at work and it's just like, phew. I was like, oh no. Then I couldn't get messages out to my bosses. I was like, I don't have power. I didn't just walk out.
I absolutely knew it was going to be worse than they predicted, because it felt like just felt like the same feeling that we got with Matthew. It just did. And I remember when Matthew was coming and everybody was estimating it, and that's not going to be that serious, and why are you letting the kids out early? And Matthew came through here and wreaked havoc. And anytime, this is the honest truth, because I have a friend that works for FEMA. Anytime it's a male name, it's actually always a worse hurricane than a woman. It's almost always going to be a 4 or 5, and it's just worse. See, men always cause more trouble than women. And anytime it's a male hurricane, though, it's the worst and causing more destruction. So
thankfully, we didn't get Ian as bad as Matthew, because
Matthew shut.
We had to leave town. Like we actually had to leave town for Matthew. So thankfully, we didn't get that bad for us.
And there were some people here that didn't get power restored for over 3 weeks. So it was Matthew was really, really, really bad. Well, we had a tree went through the roof of our church. It was really, really, really bad.
I still have the picture and the video on my phone of that, so I might share it to our page so y'all can see how bad it got
really
for us.
Bad. We had people calling us. We had people literally calling us because it was a gigantic, huge, old tree, and people were calling us saying, there's a tree sticking out of the roof of your church.
Well, no, because we were actually out of town at the time, but thank you for letting us know.
No, it didn't call us and tell us it was stopping on through.
Yeah. And it was so, I remember I was so thankful because we had been in the building before we left town that day We were like, we don't have power.
The night before, we had a huge
It wasn't
dinner.
even the night. It was when I say we, I mean our parents.
Family.
We stopped in before we left town because we didn't have power at our house. We was like, let's check on the church on the way out of town. We were trying to figure out where to go. And we had stopped into the church to check on everything before we left because we was like, we don't know when we're gonna come back. And the day we were there was the day the tree had fell into the building. And when I mean it fell, it didn't like lean onto the building. It went through the roof. So
totally through the roof.
And we
had to have our roof
thought
repaired.
about staying in that building, because we were like, well, we can kind of sit here to see what happens. We decided not to. And I was like, I'm so thankful that we decided to leave town because I don't know what would have happened. So listen to your spirits. It would have came upon you, is what would have happened. Listen to the spirits.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Yes. So today is October 7th, and before we get started, I want to send a huge happy birthday and a great big shout out to my youngest child, my baby boy, Nathaniel Melvin James Malone, who is a whopping 22 years old today. I cannot believe my baby is all grown up. My baby has a baby. He is a father of a beautiful 1-year-old boy, his Nathaniel. But today is his birthday, and so I want to make sure that I acknowledge him and tell him happy birthday. I've already spoken to him today and given him love, but for our listeners, if you can just leave in the comments and show him love, he will see it, but he can never get enough love, and he is, they're all my heart. They're my 3 heartbeats, but that is the youngest, and that's my baby, so I try so hard not to call him my baby anymore because he's all grown up. But today, because it's his birthday,
you could get away with at least one day a year.
Another 4.5 hours. Now. He's still my baby.
Your kids keep making me feel old.
He is my baby. I will tell this story quickly. Dwight doesn't mind his birth story, but Nathaniel was like, oh my gosh, Mom, enough. But Nathaniel was, it took 31 and a half hours to bring that bundle of joy into the world. And Nathaniel ended up being an emergency C-section after a lot of trial and error. And me telling the nurse that this just ain't gonna happen, and her not listening. I think after 3 children, I knew what was going on, and she thought she knew better than me. And I always joke with my friend Pam. She was doing my hair because the same way that I am about glamour now, I was 22 years ago. And so when I knew I went into labor, I had Pam do my hair. And so I didn't tell her I was contracting. And so I was just moving in the chair. And so finally she said, you must be uncomfortable. You having Braxton Hicks? And I said, no, I'm having the real deal. And so she wanted to take me to the emergency room. And I asked her, I said, is my hair done? She said, no. I was like, nobody moves till my hair is done because people take them pictures of you. That stuff is forever. Oh. No, ma'am.
Yeah, I haven't had kids, but I know for sure if I was looking raggedy and I already know I got y'all, both of y'all on duty. Don't you let nobody be posting little crazy looking pictures.
And I don't care. I have mastered glamour so much more now than then, but I just I wasn't playing about that. But that is so funny to me. But Nathaniel came into the world after 31 and a half hours of lots of labor, lots of pushing, lots of crying, a couple words I had to apologize to his dad for, but we got there, and it ended up being emergency C-section, but he came on. Nathaniel entered the world at a whopping 9 pounds and 13 ounces, and he was a little over 2 weeks early, so he would have been 10 pounds. Yeah, bless the Lord, oh my soul,
and all this
within me. Bless His holy name, Jesus.
But Jesus. I remember he looked little. Like, cause I remember when I came to see
he didn't look like he wasn't chubby.
Yeah. I was like, my newest nephew, and I was all excited. And I was like, you were like, oh, he was almost 10 pounds. I'm like, okay. And I was sitting there holding, I'm like, hold on, I gotta put this brother down for hold on. Cause he was
a solid fella.
He was like, he was a solid little dude. Adorable
And
as all the way.
he still is to this day. He loves to. He's very muscular and he's still solid. He's still that. So anyway, Nathaniel, we love you. Sending love all the way to Muskegon, Michigan, and Mom plans to come see you in Little Nate as soon as possible. So moving on, we have a lot in the news today. Some things going on. Did you all know that Kiki Palmer has launched her own digital channel called the Kiki TV?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yes.
Kiki got Bobby on that one. I try to keep up with her.
It's called Kiki TV.
Okay.
And so she was I saw the video on YouTube last night. I'm very proud of her after it's 20 years in the making. And she plans to be very hands-on behind the scenes, as well as some of her own programming. And I'm all for people of color, my sisters getting out doing things. So, you know, we're all cheers for Kiki. Go, you do it, Kiki.
I know y'all like to hear more about Black Girl Magic. I'm gonna support her.
There you go.
She's
doing it. She's doing it. Sisters are doing it for themselves. So I was really proud to see that. And moving on to Black women doing things. Have you seen Chloe Bailey's Footloose commercial for Pepsi?
I didn't see that.
Angelique, you gotta come out
to me.
around.
You should have been like, bing, bing, bing. Oh, now I want to watch it right now when we talking, because I feel like I'm left out.
It's a remix, so it's definitely not Kevin Bacon, you know, and I'm from the Kevin Bacon era. But she remixed it, and it is hot. So she's in this she's in this restaurant, and it's got so it's definitely reminiscent of themes. So she's in this restaurant, this little hick town, and it's got the sign on the jukebox, no dancing, no music, and she pops her little Pepsi, and they put it on, and the music it's current, but her choreography, girl. And she sings that thing. It is good. I was so proud of her. What hurts? What do people have against these Bailey girls? What have they done to these? And I was just speaking honestly. What have they done to white people? What are they bothering? Because when I look at the comments, it's only white folks that's hot and bothered. And so it's just, and it's older white people. So it's just like, quit watching. This isn't even your demographic in this sense. But I just, it's hurtful, you know, as someone who has a daughter her age, their age, it's just, I can only cheer for them and applaud for them. You know, everything they say, do, or wear, it's not my taste or cup of tea, but it's not for me. But as far as just being proud of them, I'm ridiculously proud of them. And I feel like you can be proud of somebody regardless of every choice that they're making. And how could you not be proud of these sisters? These sisters, how could you not be proud of them? You know, seriously, Angelique, you I'm very, very, very proud of them. So whatever I can do, if I gotta watch it 20 times a day, every day to get their viewers, get her viewership up, whatever. But I just
watched a minute of it. It's 2.5 minutes. I'm proud of her.
That's
my favorite song of the movie.
Come on now.
Period. Like, it's only one other scene in it I like more than that one, and I had it to the point where I knew the all that. I knew all that, but like, y'all weren't this upset when they did the reboot of the movie, which I did not watch,
good.
And I had no desire to watch. This Pepsi, a 2.5 minute Pepsi commercial with one of the most popular songs. Go for it, Chloe. Go for it.
Anytime Pepsi comes to you, anybody, you should be cheering for them.
And I'm so proud because they actually have been around for a very long time, and they are so talented. So anytime I see them, I try to look at what they're doing, just because they didn't get as much shine as they should have, and they are two of the most talented singers I know out. So congratulations, Chloe. Footloose it on Pepsi. Get that check.
She's securing that bag because they both still on Grownish, and they have other stuff going. They both do. So I'm very happy for them. And so, and think about what they're doing for young girls. Like you got to think about the generation that's coming behind them, what that means.
I would have felt so happy seeing somebody that looked like this with like braids and natural hair when I was growing up. Like in the mainstream, it would have affected me so, like, I would have been like, she looks like me.
Thank you.
You know,
yes, because that's how I felt watching Debbie Allen with Fame. When I was younger, I knew you couldn't convince me I was not going to that school when I got older. Like when I was
about ready to sing the song just now.
Like, I'm going to that school, wherever it was. I was
really.
And Debbie Allen was going to be my teacher. You couldn't convince me of that. I just knew that
this week. Like, I love that movie.
I was going to that art school, and then I was going to Hillman because that's what we were going to do.
Yeah. Hello.
I mean, of course.
Hey.
So moving on in news, we're celebrating Black people. So would you believe that 25 years ago today, Janet Jackson's Velvet Rope dropped? We are all that old.
I'm that old? Oh no! Oh no! That was 25 years ago.
Yep, we are that old.
Oh,
and so to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Velvet Rope,
I recorded that on video from TV.
Are you VHS?
Oh, I'm aging myself so bad.
So to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Velvet Rope, and don't lie and say you didn't watch it. Don't lie, Craig. Please don't. I don't care how saved it was.
I wrote out the recorded video.
And I bought HBO for that month to watch the live concert. So, okay. So, to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Velvet Rope, she has, hold on to your wigs, girls. Well, she has re-released the album with new, remastered, and extended tracks today.
Janet!
Well, she's been doing the most. I've been loving them on YouTube.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
And if I understand correctly, it is on YouTube. It's live tracks. It's live videos on YouTube.
She's
actually she's still dancing everything.
The show and wrap it up because I need to be on YouTube the rest of the day.
Right. She adopted YouTube, like especially like I mean, let's be honest. For her age, she adopted social media very well. So I'm not surprised.
So let's wrap it up. Now, anyway,
I got about 10 more minutes.
So the heaviest pumpkin on record was recorded this week. You want to guess how heavy it was?
The heaviest pumpkin, I'll say 60 pounds, 40 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 5 pounds. I'm just gonna start saying numbers. See, how big was it?
2,554 pounds.
What? That's too much pumpkin. That's too much pumpkin, y'all.
What kind of fertilizer are we using over there?
That's a demon in that pumpkin. I don't trust that pumpkin.
Not a
2,000 pounds.
I don't want that pie.
What did you say the number was again?
2,554 pounds.
That's 3,000. No. You round up at. No.
That's a lot of pumpkin pie.
And I don't even like pumpkin pie like that, so that's too much pumpkin.
I remember one December when we were in Muskegon, and I was doing a lot with 911 Power Teams, and I was like doing a lot of community work. Everybody was doing their Christmas parties at Bill Knapp's, Shawnee and Angie. I was subjected to so much pumpkin pie. I was so tortured for like 5 weeks straight. Everybody had pumpkin pie. I was just like, is there an apple pie option?
I don't mind pumpkin pie when I know it's pumpkin pie. Don't put pie out and don't say that's a pumpkin pie.
Yeah, I hate that fake out.
Because if I think it's sweet potato pie and I eat it, I'm gonna be mad. Because I'm like, I was expecting sweet potato pie. But I still prefer sweet potato. But if I know it's pumpkin, I can tolerate it.
I can
There's
tell.
no reason to eat pumpkin pie.
Usually I can tell.
It's some black people that season it enough and it look like dark, like sweet.
Usually I can tell in certain restaurants, I can tell because they'll put whipped cream on it, because we don't put whipped cream on sweet potato pie.
Oh, the restaurants I always tell, because restaurants is bright orange. They always mess it up. That ain't talking about. I'm talking about soul food black people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They always put whipped cream on top of stuff, and it's like, don't. Slide it to the side.
Yes. So, this is a little bit more serious news, but of course, since we've been gone, just to acknowledge it, one of our icons for sure has passed. We want to make sure that we acknowledge that, and that is country music legend Loretta Lynn passed on October the 4th. She was 90 years old. For me, because I do listen to country music, grew up on country music, she sang one of my favorite songs, which is Coal Miner's Daughter, and that's also one of my favorite movies. You don't have to like it, you don't have to agree, that's fine, I'm cool with it.
Oh, I don't really
stop me from listening.
Like, I've seen that movie so many times. Like, I mean, when I saw that, I just was like, she did live, in her 90s, she did live a good life. I'm glad she didn't, pass on at like 40 or 50. But, I just was like, oh no. It's like, she's an icon. She is an icon. Whatever you want to say, she's definitely a country icon. Like, it affected me. I'll leave it like that.
And then Keith Wonderboy Johnson of gospel music passed on September 30th. He was only 50 years old. That is very young. And although that is not my genre of music, he definitely means a lot to a lot of people. And there's been tributes literally all over for him. Even here in Florence, there's been a tribute. And so we just pray for his family, the people close to him, and that his legacy will continue on, because he definitely touched a lot of people.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
The last thing I want to say in news, for the Beehive, did you know that Beyonce once again is hitting the Guinness World Record as the queen of femme pop?
Oh, I thought okay, all right, I take it. I'm a part of the same Beehive.
She's hitting. Well, I'm not saying that we are, but it's just for the Beehive people. But she's hit and being inducted again into the Guinness World Records as a queen of femme pop because of the amount of records that she's already hit and acquired in the Guinness World Records. She has these are her achievements to date. The most BET Award nominations for an individual, which is 75 to date.
It was 75.
Most wins at the MTV Music Awards, which is 30. Most BET Awards won by an individual, 32. Most Grammy Awards won by a female artist, 28 to date. Most Grammy Awards won by a married couple, dig this, 51.
51?
Killing the game, y'all.
Wow. Okay.
First female artist to win Best Rap Performance at the Grammys, first place. Most Grammy Awards won by a vocalist, 28. Most Grammy nominations for Record of the Year, 7. Most Grammy nominations for a female artist, 79. Highest grossing music tour. Highest grossing music tour by a duo current year, 253,500,000. Most MTV Music Award nominations for Video of the Year, 7. Most current Twitter engagements, average retweets for a female musician, 31,615 retweets. Best-selling single in Spain, 480,000 copies of a single in Spain. First act to debut at #1 with their first 6 studio albums in the USA, #1 Billboard 200 albums chart. First artist-owned music streaming service, first place. Highest earning couple in Hollywood ever at 175 million. Highest annual earnings for a female singer at 150 million. Highest ranked female musician in Forbes Celebrity 100 list at first place. Most Grammy Awards won in a single year by a female artist at 6th place in 6. Most Grammy nominations in a single year for a female artist at 10. She ain't no joke, y'all. You just kind of have to sit and just be quiet after that.
What do you say after that? What do you say? What do you say? Like it's what do you say? Like you can't keep saying that she's not talented. You can't keep saying that she's not, an icon in the game and all this. Like, just give her flowers, y'all. You ain't even gotta say she's the best singer ever in the world, but just give her what she like. Give her something. Just hey, congrats, sis.
I read that. I was absolutely speechless. Like I knew it was going to be something, but I personally wasn't even prepared for all of that. I just was just like,
and I'm a fan of hers, and I didn't know all those numbers.
Wow. And I think it was that you never hear her talking about neither one of them, any of that, not even close to it. Like they could be so prideful, or talking about themselves, and they don't. I think that's what makes it just you would never know.
No, not at all. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of. Well, I mean, say that whatever, but I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her. That's a lot of accomplishments.
It is. So we're going to move on in our show. After that, I need to sip my water. Shoot.
Like, ooh,
thirsty.
It'll make you want to feel like
you feel like you got a lot of stuff to do, don't it?
Really, I gotta do some stuff with myself.
Yeah, I gotta get ready.
For real, what?
I just need to go prepare something.
I just need to go just type. Just bored. Just something.
She gonna make me finish doing some of the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. I was like, ooh. Hey, Sister Sandra. What's she doing? What's she doing?
Look like a pointer sister.
Ooh, they ain't them.
I'm so excited.
And I just can't. All right, I'm about to lose control, and I don't think I should sing the rest of that song.
You was into it too.
Did Mom say that's her favorite group?
Emotions.
Yeah.
All right, Chantilly. This month is National Medicine Abuse Awareness Month, and I know in my personal life, because of my health, I take a lot of medicines, and we want people to be careful in taking their medicines, but sometimes we can have healthy alternatives, and I know that you have some tips for us today.
Oh, okay. I was trying to see what Andrew was talking about.
Well, I don't want to say it, so.
All right. So this is National Medicine Abuse Awareness Month, and we wanted to give you natural alternatives to man-made medicines. So today I want to talk about natural alternatives to medicine, especially when it comes to constipation.
Oh, a good one right there.
Yeah.
And that's because gut health is really important. It's really connected to a lot of our health issues, mental health and physical health. So instead of, like, I know that the laxative industry is really makes a lot of money a year because so many of us deal with constipation and gut health issues. So some natural things that we can do is just eat probiotic foods instead of trying to, use laxative all the time, or, just take fiber powder. Probiotics is something that can keep our gut health really, really healthy and really strong. And foods that have that in it is chicory, Jerusalem artichokes.
Oh,
what the what?
Jerusalem, I never heard of it until I looked it up. So I should have Googled it and see what it was about. But artichoke is fine. Just, I don't know what the difference is between Jerusalem and wherever.
Can I get United States artichokes until I can?
You get yours from Jerusalem.
I gotta look it up. Like, what about a regular just artichoke?
you need Jesus's artichokes. Also, garlic is something we know about. Garlic.
I love garlic.
Yeah.
Onions.
I love
bananas. Yeah. Leeks and chickpeas.
Okay.
So if you have any issues with constipation, those are foods that should be in your diet regularly. To keep you flowing and going. But another thing is also with laxatives, if you keep taking them, I heard that it's a possibility that if in the long run, your digestive system will kind of be dependent on them, and you won't really be able to move, your bowel system won't be able to move the way that it needs to. Mm-hmm. But the natural way, not the natural way, but when it comes to your thought process, a thought process that causes constipation is thoughts where you're holding on too much. Mm-hmm. Thoughts, where, you can't let go of the past, or you can't let go of anything. You're holding on, you can't go. So things are, things are stuck. So you have to kind of have like a releasing mindset, so you want to go with the flow. Mm-hmm. And you also want to, release old thoughts, old feelings, old, pains, habits, all that stuff. That's what you want to look at if you're dealing with constipation.
Okay.
I didn't think of that. Yeah.
I know I'm not I will eat them, but I'm not a huge fan of bananas anymore. Because when I was growing up, I had to drink banana milk because I couldn't have dairy at all. So it's like, yeah. It's like, I make myself eat bananas for certain reasons, but I'm like, if I can avoid a banana, I'm fine to not have a banana. But all the, like some of the other stuff you said, like chickpeas and some other stuff you said, I do eat and I like the taste of. So I definitely be using some of the other stuff outside of the Jesus artichokes.
I gotta look those up. And I never heard of chicory before either.
Oh, really? I've heard of chicory. It's on a lot of like diet and weight loss pills that they have that in there.
Yeah, so I mean, you got it. And I have heard about if you take too much of the pills to take to get rid of constipation, you will end up, your system will be like, well, I can't go without that. So I think
my doctor has told me that before. So they will they'll take you off of it for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Chantilly. That was great.
I'm here to help.
All right, we'll appreciate it.
Next time I'm my bowels, thank you.
If I'm plugged up, I'm gonna call you.
And your
So
hair
really,
looks
what
amazing.
Chantilly said was, sometimes you're just full of crap. Is what she really
You gotta
said.
flush out the crap.
Let it go.
You gotta flush out the crap.
Let it go.
It is vegetarian month, and sometimes we need to change up our recipe, our diet, and what we're eating. And I know that I have been on various fasts before, and I would love to say that I can just dive in and just change it up and eat what I need to, but I would be lying. So sometimes I need a recipe that tastes like like that. I can't believe it's not something that's tricking me. So Angelique, do you have a recipe for us that for people who are vegetarians or people who would like to eat healthier today, that it's a vegetarian meal? For those of us who are still a little on the carnivore side.
So I will say I'm a carnivore. I like meat. I like eating chicken, fish, shrimp, beef, all that. I'm not trying to be vegetarian. Some people, if you are vegetarian, vegan even, have fun. That's just not that's not my journey.
Right.
So, but as Renee was saying, we've had fasts in our church where we had to not be able to have we weren't allowed to have certain things. And just even if you just want to say, well, I want to cut back on having so much like red meat or just meat in general, definitely, especially red meat. One of my favorite and easiest and least expensive things to make is vegetarian spaghetti. There's a lot of other things you can make, but vegetarian spaghetti is, I would say, it's the easiest to do. You can either start with like a meat substitute, like the Impossible or meat crumbles, something like that. Or another way you can do it if you don't want to spend the money on those, because honestly, the vegetarian meats are kind of expensive, especially now. But if you don't want to do that, what you can do is get your mushrooms, because mushrooms have the umami flavor that tricks your mind into thinking it's eating beef or something that has beef. It's like, oh, that's, your mind is going to think that's what you're eating. And so you start with a good amount of mushrooms. You can get fancy mushrooms if you want, or just cheaper pack of like mushrooms. You don't have to get the fanciest ones out in the market. And then you put those, you chop them up, a good amount of them. Then you chop up your onions, whatever you want to put in it, and you cook those to not, obviously don't burn them, but you cook them down to, a good almost like to where they almost dried, but not to that point, because mushrooms have a lot of water in them. So you want to cook out a lot of the water, and then you put your sauce and stuff with that, and then let that simmer. Make sure if you want to get a vegetarian sauce, if you're that deep into it, you can. If you don't care, get your preferred sauce. Then you want to start your noodles. I have actually gone to the point of, they have not necessarily gluten-free noodles. I don't like gluten-free noodles because they have a weird taste. So if you can have gluten, get some gluten. If you can't have gluten, you know what to do. So there's so many different types of spaghetti on the market now, outside of just wheat and whole and other just like regular noodles you see. They have noodles that are actually made out of vegetables and stuff like that. So get your preferred spaghetti noodle, whatever you're trying to have right now in your life. Boil those, get those set up, and the main thing of that is season your everything.
Yes.
So many people don't so many people don't realize, even if you buy spaghetti sauce like ragu, prego, all those, season your stuff. Season your stuff. And for me, I found out I don't necessarily have heartburn as a general rule, but I couldn't figure out why when I ate pasta I would get heartburn. So you really want to make sure you add just a teeny little bit of sugar. You don't have to make it sweet. But like I'll add like a little bit of stevia or like 1 or 2 packs of stevia into my sauce, and that'll cut through the acid in the spaghetti sauce, and that'll get rid of that for you. And then if you're like trying to be vegan or vegetarian, you can get a cheese alternative if you want to do that. If you're just vegetarian, like lacto-ovo, you can just get a regular cheese, your preferred cheese. I like to add Velveeta to mine. If I'm trying to not have so much cheese, I'll just add it on the top after it's done. But really, my thing is this: you're not making spaghetti that's just like, don't add this. It's make your spaghetti to make sure the taste tastes good. Because if it doesn't taste good, I don't care what you put in it. You will not like it. So, mostly all seasonings are vegetarian. Mostly all sauces are vegetarian. You can get vegetarian pastas. You can get vegan. It's so many things you can do to get that. And I prefer over even the vegetarian crumbles, like Impossible Meats, to if you don't want to have meat, do the mushroom thing because it's cheaper and it tastes a little better. And you just get that flavor in your mind. If you're just like, your mind will be like, I'm eating something with beef in it. So it's really just, making sure you're getting the flavors you want in your spaghetti, and being like, if I want cheese in my spaghetti, well then either get a cheese alternative or just something to make sure you get all the flavors you want. Because I prefer my spaghetti, for me personally, a little spicy. So it's just really just getting all your flavors, and don't focus so much on it doesn't have meat in it. It's just getting all your flavors there. So getting all that together. And I served somebody one time with the meat crumbles. I was like, I didn't even tell them it didn't have meat in it, and I gave it to them, and I was like, taste this. And they tasted it, and they were like, they ate the whole thing. It was like, this is so good. And I was like, it didn't have meat in it. And they did not believe me. They just did not believe me. So it's just like, if you cook your things right, you should be able to give it to a person that likes meat, and they shouldn't be like, this tastes funny.
I agree.
If they say it tastes funny, it's not because of the vegetarian meat. It's because you didn't cook it well. Look inside yourself.
Shots fired.
I'm just saying.
Bang, bang.
And people really do recommend, even if you're a meat eater, you don't have to eat meat every day of the week.
No, I don't anymore. I do not anymore.
Me neither.
And it's like, sometimes I'm like, I just want some red meat, like a burger or something. But like, I don't have to have meat every single day. I just know when I want to have it, I'm going to want to have it. But yeah, like, it's really just, it's really the flavors. Anything you're making that's with the spaghetti, get all your flavors. Get the garlic, get the onion, get all your flavors there, so it still tastes, it doesn't have to taste bland or whatever because you didn't add meat, because meat's not giving you the flavor anyway. So just make sure you get your flavors there. But definitely for me, I prefer the
unless it's bacon.
Yeah, bacon cake. You either put bacon in it or don't. If you don't, just put it in there though. But like, I really do believe that for me, I prefer the mushroom method over even buying the overpriced like meat substitute crumbles and stuff. The mushroom method, when I tried that one day, it gave the best flavor without having meat. Like, that gave the best flavor. You got to get a good amount of mushrooms in there now. But the thing is, cook them down. You shouldn't taste mushrooms. Like, you shouldn't taste spongy mushrooms. You're supposed to cook it, saute it down first. Like, you're really supposed to cook it down and then add everything else. But so, like, if you're a person that's like, I don't like mushrooms, make sure you cook it down.
I do not.
Well, and then you'll be able to. It won't bother you It won't bother you as much. If it's like, if you're still tasting like, you're still tasting like spongy mushroom, you didn't cook it out enough. For what I'm talking about. So that's like you just want to make sure you saute them down, like saute them and like till you get a lot of the water out of the mushrooms. And then you do everything else, and it's gonna give you like an amazing flavor if you know how to season.
I'm probably just gonna take your word on it for that. I don't know.
Mine
no matter with the mushrooms. No, because y'all played me with that Daniel's Pass we had back in Muskegon that time, that 40-day when everybody was like, get the what's the real big mushroom?
Oh no, I would have never told you. No, portobello is something else.
No. Everybody was like, get that. It tastes just like meat. Everybody was substituting that for hamburger meat, and everybody was like, oh, I'm eating this just like a hamburger. Man, I got that, and I was so.
If you don't like mushrooms,
it tastes like meat. The thing about mushrooms and what's that other thing? Tofu. Is that they don't really have a taste. You have to make them have a taste.
Yeah, they take on the flavor of what you cook it with. So like,
it took on an absolute mushroom flavor for me, and I was pissed.
I would have never recommended that to you because I know you don't like mushrooms. Like if you
I don't mind mushrooms unless they're like they got that slimy texture to them. Then I don't like them. But I mean they don't have a taste, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just gotta know who you're talking to and who.
And I remember being in Mom and Dad's house, and Shawnee made a portobello mushroom like burger, and Shawnee was the one in the kitchen going, this thing is good. And so I was like,
it was good.
Oh, it was very good to me. I put some liquid aminos on mine. There's a little garlic and girl. But you gotta eat it hot. You gotta eat it hot.
On a George Foreman grill.
That's what Shotty made it on, that George Foreman grill. And I was like,
right. Okay, it tastes like I grilled it on the grill outside.
But you gotta eat it hot. Like you gotta. That's not something you let sit.
I did, and that made me extremely ill. Like that got a reverse effect on me. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't recommend that to you because I know you do not like mushrooms. So it don't matter how I do it, you don't like it. So I wouldn't recommend that. That's what I'm like. People that are vegetarian need to know who you're speaking to. Like I know you don't like mushrooms. So it don't matter what. I don't care if I make the most amazing portobello burger. You're not gonna like it. Even if you're just like it has a good. Even if you tasted a piece and was like it has a good taste, you would be like, but it still tastes like mushroom, and you wouldn't like it.
Yeah,
so
maybe Renee might
do that.
Well, something like tofu.
Possibly.
Oh man, last time I was with Michael, he made some meat dish and he put so much mushrooms in it, and I was like,
and see, that's the thing is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying.
But you know, at that point where it's like I didn't want to hurt his feelings, and he put, and then so he was like, "How is it?" And I was like,
"Mushroomy."
Yeah, like when I'm talking about with spaghetti, like, you wouldn't.
We're gonna have to have a talk about what Leah don't like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would like the spaghetti I'm talking about. The point is, you don't taste the mushroom. So the fact that you even saw the mushroom and tasted the mushroom is not what I'm talking about.
I have had that happen where I ate. This is the honest truth. Where I've eaten something, mushrooms and with green peppers. I don't like green peppers either. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it till after I'd eaten it, and then I was just like, "Would that have mushrooms in it or peppers in it?" And it was looked into it. I didn't know, but then that really irritated me because I felt played.
You know you need to eat some vegetables anyways, ma'am. Why you keep playing? Okay. We ain't gonna talk about what you need to be eating, but anyways.
So, today is also Father-Daughter Day. Mm-hmm. That is so precious. And I think by now you all should know that we have a wonderful relationship with our father, and we really love our dad. When we were little, our dad actually used to have a day called Father-Daughter Day with us. Y'all remember that?
Yeah. We could pick when we want to do that day.
Once a month, he used to have Father-Daughter Day, and we could eat absolutely anything. It didn't matter what it was, how full of sugar it was, which I know that probably doesn't sound like anything, but my mom was still very much a health person. I mean, we got up, we ate healthy, we took a handful of vitamins, we did, there sugar wasn't in our house at all. And so for our dad to just be like, if y'all want soda, you want cakes, cookies, pies, you want we could eat wherever we wanted. We could and that also happened on our birthdays too, but Father-daughter day was a little bit more special because it was just time with daddy. It just was a really special time, and so he would ask us ahead of time where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do, and they would be that, and he would, as we got older, he would also take that time to just talk to us and pour words of wisdom into us, and I really appreciated us. I appreciated that was important to him. Raising 3 daughters, and especially with the life that we lived and as busy as he was. And so I don't know that he's listening now, but he will be listening. And so we just wanted to take time to share some of our favorite memories of our dad. So of course that for me has always been one of my favorite memories. But I think if I can think of I mean, gosh, that's 44 years. That's a lot of memories. If I could think of some of my favorite times with daddy and things that he has imparted with me and shared with me, I think that I think I've told, I don't know that I've told this story here on the podcast, but when I was probably 5, one of my favorite times with my dad was I had gotten this red dress and I really wanted red shoes to wear with this dress. And I only had white shoes and black shoes. And I just really had a fit about that. And my mom, you know, she was just like, you need to be thinking when you get shoes, period. And so my dad said, I agree, she should have red shoes. And so my daddy, and all his awesomeness, stayed up on a Saturday night and dyed my little white shoes red so that I had red shoes to wear for church on Sunday morning. And so I always tell people that because of that, I always make sure that I keep me a pair of red shoes, which I actually probably have 1, 2, 3, 4 pair of red shoes upstairs right now. I believe that every woman should have her some red shoes. It's very important in her life. It's extremely essential to her wardrobe. But just that my dad cheered for me, that was so important to me as a little girl. And it would have been easy for him to, you know, equally say, you know, you don't need that. But those type of things were so important to my dad. And so he was my hero that day for sure. I think that another time for me with my dad, for me and just loving him, I actually was older. I was an adult and I had gained weight. I just had my daughter, and I had gotten to a point I did what a lot of people do when they gain weight, and you start to become self-deprecating. And so I would make jokes about myself, kind of let me do it before the people do it. And I also come from there's people in my family who are overweight as well. Yeah. And so I was over the youth ministry at the time, and we were taking our young people out to skate. And the kids were asking me, was I going to skate? And I had made a joke, and I said, you know, there's no way in the world that you catch me on some skates big as I am. And my father caught me, and he looked at me and he said, nobody talks about my kids. Nobody puts my daughters down. He said, don't you never let me hear you talk about yourself. And he said, nobody can talk about you, not even you. And that he loved me that much meant so much to me. And that always stuck with me. And I was probably like 22, no, I wasn't 22. I was about 20 years old. I was 20 years old at that point. And so that he fought for me, that he spoke through to me, meant so much. I don't even know that I've ever told him that, but that meant so much to me. And then just overall, I've said this many times, and this year we've celebrated him being in ministry, him and my mom being in ministry 40 years. That having to work on my dad's life, the realization that my dad was in his very early 20s when he was called to ministry,
right?
And very early 20s. That in doing that, this young Black man, and my father ministered in predominantly white churches for most of our lives, but especially in the early 80s. But here's this young man. I've only known the person that people know now, the way that he is. He was the same way 40 years ago. He's never been any different.
No,
He's
really
always been this man who knew who he was, very focused, said what he meant what he said. And so that he was definite in the fact that he wasn't going to leave his family behind. It's just so common for ministers, evangelists to go on the road and just leave their family. But we grew up traveling, so I thought everybody traveled. I thought everybody was on the road. I honestly did till I got older. That he was definite that he wanted his wife and his children with him, and as I got older, it's unfortunate things that people say around children. So I did hear relatives say things they should not say in the presence of someone's children, calling them, my parents, fanatics, calling them, they're too radical, calling them crazy. My parents made the decision to, I started off in a private school, to take me out of school and homeschool me. My sisters were always homeschooled. When they made that decision, people in my family, on both sides of my dad's family, saying that they were crazy, saying that me in particular would be stunted because I wasn't going to be in school, that I would be slow because I wasn't around other kids. I tested 2 and 3 grades above my class every single year.
Yeah.
I was doing college courses before I was even in high school. I was around more people traveling than I would have ever been in a high school.
Definitely.
And around a diverse group of people,
ages, races,
versus
yeah,
anything I would have experienced in a school. So they actually gave me a benefit, taking me on the road and exposing me to so many people, places, cultures. I met people from all around. I met people from all around the world, actually.
Yeah.
Traveling. I met African people. I met Middle Eastern people. I met Israeli people. I met, Mexican people, people from all Latin cultures. I met. I've been in Canada so many times. I grew up learning French. I've been exposed to so many people that spoke French. I've had so many experiences, but all that I am and all that I do now in life was because of my father making the decision to have his family together, and he didn't back up on that. And even if it meant that he wasn't always understood or respected. And I love him so much for that. And so I will yield to Chantilly. But when I think about my dad, he's always going to be my hero, and he's always going to be the most amazing person to me for being a strong person, being a strong man, for being a man. I think 2 weeks ago was National Wife Appreciation Day, and the other thing, and the last thing I'll say was, watching my dad love my mom, and the way that he loved my mom, he's taught me what a husband is supposed to be, and what a man is supposed to be, and everyone doesn't get to do that. And when you grow up in love, you you have such an amazing outlook on life. And, I've been asked so many times, it's no secret, that I've been divorced, and how I can want to be married again. When you grow up in love, when you grow up in what I've grown up in, how could you not want to experience love? How could you not want to give love or receive love? But my father was the seed of that. And so, so Daddy, for whenever you hear this, I love you so much. And thank you for being an amazing dad. Shawnee.
The very first thought I had was when we were talking about Father-Daughter Day is when I was younger, I didn't talk at all, or I didn't talk a lot at all. But it's this side of me that I guess I wanted to show my dad that it was a little different. And so one time it was just me and him in the house, and he was playing with me, and then he was sometimes he used to wrestle with us a little bit, and he had me up on the wall, and I act like something was broke. I can't remember what I can't remember.
You used to always do like your elbow and stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so I was like, I was playing, but I guess I was very dedicated to the play.
You really were. If you was gonna do it, you was gonna do it.
Dedicated to the craft.
I thought we was playing, and then I was just like, oh, something hurt. And then Daddy went from playing to like serious and started, doing what he needed to do. So he took me to the hospital. I was still playing, but also I was like, I'm in this now.
You was doing it for the gram. For the gram existed.
I was like, I'm in this now. I don't know how far. I don't know when I'm supposed to say. I was just playing now.
Before you got to the hospital.
I think I was 3 or 4, and I think I waited until the doctor told Daddy I was okay, and then I was like, I was just playing.
You waited too long.
I didn't know when I was.
Before you got to the hospital.
I had no idea.
He was a baby.
Yeah, I think I couldn't have been older than 4. So yeah, that's my little playful side. That's the first thing. That's the first thing I remember, because the look on his face was like, he kind of thought it was funny, but then he was like, you
had me concerned.
Yeah, I can see the relief and everything. So that taught me a lot about him, and a lot about, when to end the joke. And also, the first time I sang with Daddy, that's another thing that I thought about.
I can see that for you.
When Daddy gave me away when I got married, and we didn't know how to act.
That happened for me too. That was hard.
I don't have that experience. I have yet to be given away to anybody. I have yet to have that experience.
It's rough.
They trying to talk to Jonathan, asking the questions, and they had their own little thing going on. I had my thing going on, so it was a lot. But those was like the top 3 memories that I had, like right off the top. Thinking about the special moments between me and Dad.
Oh, that's so precious.
That's so sweet. Oh my God, it's so many things. Cause I'm my daddy's girl and with no shame. I know the first one that always comes to mind is when Daddy, which I didn't find out till later, he was using us. But when Daddy would come and be like, "Y'all want some donuts?" and I didn't find out till later he was not supposed to be having donuts because his sugar was insane. And he wasn't supposed to be having donuts, but he would be like, "Well, I got it for the girls." When he'd be like in the middle of the night, Daddy'd be like, "Girls, I got some donuts. You want some donuts?" We'd be like, "Yeah, I want some donuts." You know, we didn't know. I didn't know until when I mean older, I mean from like when that was happening, I was maybe 6, 7, maybe 8.
Younger than that.
And then, but I'm saying at the most.
I was 6 or 7 when I remember it. So you had to have been younger than that.
Oh, I would have had to been then, because that was like, I know we were in Texas, so it would have been, if you were 6 or 7, I would have been like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So that time, and so it's like I didn't realize what he was doing till like I was in my teens, at least. Till Mom was like, "Yeah, he was using y'all to get some sugar, and he wasn't." And I was like, "I didn't know," but I still ate them donuts. I would say I have a similar. I don't want to say similar, but I have a weight story too. And our dad is not. He doesn't like to talk to us about certain things unless he has to. Like if something is like, he knows it's emotional, it's sensitive, it's not necessarily something he wants to deal with, like from a female male situation, he doesn't want to do it. But I remember I had put on like a lot of weight from like, I just put on a lot of weight. And he was like, and he brought it, for him to say something to me about it, and not even in a bad way. Because like our dad is not that. He's not an attack type person. Like anybody else would have probably made me mad, defensive. But for him to say something, I was just like, "Oh my God, what am I doing with myself?" I was like, my body, oh, what am my life? I was like, because I know for him to say anything, it was dangerous. It was
right.
He was concerned. I should say he was concerned, and so, it's always so funny for me because I hear like my dad is involved in my life, but not involved. Like the older I got, he was like, "Get your mom deal with that." Like me and him don't talk about certain things in certain ways because it's like. The older I got, he was just like, he don't deal with that. But it's just like, if I know, if he brings certain things up, like he brought up my weight, if he brought up, honestly, if he even brought up like hygiene or something like that, it's serious. He's like, I'm trying to help you as a man dealing with a woman. I'm trying to help you as your father. So it's like, our dad is very involved as far as he will talk to our mother. He will talk to us, but he will talk to our mother first. And then, so it's just, I have so many different like pieces of memories of certain things, like, I think I brought it up on one of our earlier episodes, but the taking one of the guys I was dating out to go fishing. I didn't even know what that, and then that guy, I didn't hear from him after that, really. And it was like, my dad didn't kill him. But
yeah, clean that up.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
yeah.
Fishing and I don't know where it went. But like he was like, he came, like the guy came back, and not too long after that, I didn't hear after that. Like he kind of talked to me for like a couple weeks after that, and then he just disappeared. And and like I was like, I remember my dad told me later, he was like, I just asked him like stuff that was like, what do you want from my daughter? Are you going to treat her well? And it's just like,
how dare he?
The fact that made you disappear. And so it's like, I have so many, especially a lot of my memories, I should say my poignant memories. I have a lot of memories from my dad when I was younger, obviously. But my poignant memories that are just like things that I think about now a lot is when I was older and became a woman. And it's just, I know now, it's like so many memories now. And I have 2 older sisters, so hearing stuff that he's talked to them about and stuff that they said he's talked to them about, I have so many things that now are okay. If you, it is what it is. If you can't get past my daddy,
you ain't going nowhere.
And there's so many people that's like, well, you marrying or you dating you one day, you shouldn't be concerned about what your daddy thinks. Boop.
Excuse me.
Okay.
And my thing is this:
your house.
That's the only
run your relationships how you want to run your relationships. Do what you want to do. But my thing is always going to be, if you can't get past my daddy, my mom, and when I say my family, I mean my immediate family. I got extended family. I don't care if they like you or not.
Which means your sisters.
My immediate, we grew up in the house together. So that means my parents and my sisters. If you can't get past them, we might not need to be together. But if you can't get past my dad, like if my dad is saying, like my dad honestly has never ever told me really be like, no, not that person. My dad ever told me don't. But I'm saying not ever. I'm saying a lot of people think he's constantly saying that. Like every person I talk, like no. It's only ever been one person my dad was like, don't date him. And I was like, whatever.
I think he was after that second time with Hollywood, when Daddy wouldn't even talk.
You saying names? Jesus,
he was like,
she said saying names.
She's saying names.
That's basically where Daddy was at, because Daddy was like, Daddy couldn't even talk to me.
Yeah,
I was like, he is hot.
Because I will say, like when we talk about personalities, my mom talks about it all the time. She always says she lives with the same person. But my dad and I's personalities are very almost exactly the same. So if I'm completely quiet, I'll speak for me because it's honestly the same. If we're completely quiet, you don't want that. You want us to talk. If we're not talking at all, it's a problem. So
because you didn't talk to me neither. My personality, but I understood, but I knew enough about Daddy to know Daddy was just really, he didn't want to hurt me, so he.
And that's what it is. It's not saying I don't have anything to say. It's saying I don't want to hurt you to say what I have to say.
He's really careful about
hurting
what he
feelings.
says.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way.
And so
you might tell us something, and we might not say nothing until like a week later, or maybe even a month later, because we're trying to think about the best way.
How do I say this? How do I say this without hurting your feelings? Without
really important. That's really important.
But now all three of us are like that, honestly, because I'm like that too.
Yeah, we don't care about hurting people's feelings if we don't care. Like I care. I don't want to hurt.
Right.
Like
right.
I don't want to hurt my sister's feelings, my parents' feelings, people that I consider friends. If somebody just regular out in the streets, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, move on my life.
Oh man.
But
it's every man for himself.
But when it came to my dad told me, he was like, don't date this guy. He was like, do not date him. Because he knew I liked him, he liked me. But Daddy was like, do not date him. And I was like, I wasn't like a teenager, but I was still young enough in my 20s to be like, whatever. He don't know nothing. Whatever. So I dated him, and I was like, months after, I was like, ugh, I should have listened. He knew. Because that guy was trash. You know, so it's just like, I have so many memories of my dad being a strong male figure in my life. And showing me what that is. Like how you said, how a husband should treat a wife. How a father should be treating his daughters. And just how to be treated as a woman. You know, it just seeing that, I just was like, now I know. So I'm not married, but some of it is I don't put up with a lot. And I just don't put up with a lot of stuff. It's just like, no, like I don't have to make excuses for bad behavior. I don't have to be a Mrs. Fix-Up for people. Like, if you know what you like, a man should be treating you how you want to be treated. So I grew up, thankfully, we all grew up with the image of what we think a man should be. Everybody has their own decisions. I'm not going to get into that. But what we think a man should be of how do you want to be treated? Like, how do you, so I know, well, I want what my father reflected to me. And I haven't seen that yet.
Right.
So I'm good because I'm not gonna settle for certain things because I know what I want because I've been shown what I want. So it's, as I'm saying, I have so many memories of like little things, not necessarily huge things like, the donuts and like our dad just telling us we're pretty.
All the time. Yeah.
And just finding out, like, growing up with that, when I see a man in the store telling me I'm pretty, I'm like, yeah, I know. Now what?
Right. And he would tell us, he was telling us when we were younger, so that when we heard it out in public, it wouldn't just be like, I never heard that before. So,
like, oh, you think I'm cute? Like, now I know. Like, yeah, I know. I grew up hearing that my whole life. Now what? Can I help you? So, like, yeah, it's I'm just really grateful. I know some people don't have it, but I'm really grateful for having that strong male figure and image in my life from our dad. Like, I'm really grateful for that.
I think one of mine I didn't say too, and I wanted to say this at the concert in Fayetteville too. That they just went bazonkers at one point, but I think one of the most special moments for me was when Daddy first asked me to dance when he was traveling, because
I could see that.
Because we knew that it was all our family, that was all of our family was helping get this done.
Yeah.
It was Daddy's ministry.
Yeah.
And we were all hoping to support Daddy. So,
I love how and all of our agents, we still call him Daddy.
But it was, we all had so much respect for him and what he did. And so, and it was the way he asked me. And so I will absolutely never, ever forget it. And we were in Florida and it was a Wednesday night. I can't exactly remember which church it was. And Daddy just was getting dressed and he asked me, and he said, Leya, you because I had been practicing and working on a song, and so he asked me, did I have a song ready? And I just yes sir. And he just said, I want you to dance tonight. And I couldn't breathe, like all the air left my lungs. Like the room started spinning. And he didn't just say that to me. And I remember looking at Mom, and Mom is she's the busy bee, and she just immediately, she was like, where's your music? Get your music ready. You need to go over it. And what do you want to wear tonight? And I'm still like, he just asked me to dance tonight. And I just remember, like, literally, and I'm sure I've never said this to him, but I just remember thinking, you want me to be a part of the Dwight Elijah experience? You want me to dance in your service? Like, that's how I felt. Like, I don't know if any of our viewers, our listeners have ever watched, I feel so stupid saying this, have ever watched Jerry Lewis and Cinderella.
Don't you talk about Cinderella.
When he's like, you
let me cry.
But honestly, how you felt was exactly how
That's how I felt.
The first time Daddy asked me to sing, because I can sing, but the first time Daddy ever asked me to sing a solo, I was like,
oh yeah.
You want
And
me to
Daddy,
sing a solo?
Daddy's gonna work you up because he already knows you can do it. So Daddy's just like, well, I don't know how Shawnee's experience was, because Shawnee like really can sing, but Daddy was just like, he's just like, okay, I want you to do it, and it was just like,
yeah,
leave you out here dangling, like you're not gonna.
He was like, he was like,
rub my back,
yeah.
head,
no, he was like, here's a song, start practicing it. You got this much, told me what I want to do, and I was just like, you want me?
He
to
did that
sing.
with me when when I had to take over the dance ministry in Muskegon. Literally, like I remember he was standing in the hallway and he's like checking his mail, and he was just like, I want you to take over the dance team, and I'm like, I've literally just done 2 dances. We did Lamb of God and Bow Down and Worship Him. That is it. I've never danced with a team in my whole. I was always a solo dancer.
Yeah,
and I just remember him looking. No, he never looked me in my face, and that's what always gets me. He just said, you can do it. You got it. And he walked in his office. To this day, I always laugh because I'm saying, we've never talked about it since. I'm like, okay. But I appreciate that he knows what he's put. He knows what he put into all his leaders.
Yeah.
As he knows what he put into his daughters.
Yes.
Because when he's asked the 3 of us to do something, he doesn't, and I've seen, I know you all have seen it growing up with us being pastors' daughters, when he'll ask us, it's kind of like an ask-a-tale.
Really?
When he says he wants something done, he doesn't think about it. It's, I need you to open up in service. I need you to sing. I need you to run this time. I need you to do this.
It's not like that. It's the assumption of you got it.
You're right, but it's the confidence in, I'm not gonna have to think about it again once they do it. I'm not gonna have to check behind them to make sure it gets done. Yeah. Or to the level that I need it to be done. Yeah. So, but I've heard people say, I've heard the whisperings, like, well, he didn't, he just told her, well, number one, that's my daddy.
Thank you.
But two, he has faith in who he's trained. I mean, literally, we've been trained our whole life. Like, we've been prepared for our whole life for whatever that. So, but before we move on, I was waiting for Shawnee to come back because I was thinking one of our mutually funniest memories of Daddy is in the car with the radio. When our dad would want to have these talks with us.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
We gonna have to say some of this stuff when they come back on the show.
To the gas station. Let me ride with me real quick. You right.
You can be riding in the car. You can be in the car with Daddy for 25 minutes, and 20 of those minutes he won't say anything, and you be thinking you good in the hood, just not. And then Daddy will say,
"So I want to talk to you." Me and Mom been talking, and you've noticing something lately.
So I want to talk to you for a minute, and then he turned it. No, he gonna turn the volume down first.
You want to
turn the volume down first. When you see that volume,
I want to be like, turn it back
up. That's okay. You go ahead, keep it up. I'm cool.
I want to listen to the song for the next 15 minutes.
Let's keep listening to what the Gaynor Brothers, whoever they are. I want to keep listening to the Mighty Clouds of Joy. Thank you.
And see, y'all got out of it because I started driving the latest. So I was still getting rides with Daddy for a long time. And I would be like, that volume would go down. I'd be like,
as soon as I would see the volume go down, I'll be like, oh my God, what have I done?
Really? That's all you can think. Oh, Jesus, what are we about to talk about? What are we about to talk about?
Reviewing and reflecting.
Really? Mm-mm. We had some.
You need to go to the gas station and you want me to come with you?
I don't want to go. I don't need gas.
Come with you real quick. Okay.
We hoping somebody called you.
And the thing was, the way he told you, you can't get mad at him because he didn't never.
Daddy don't yell.
He never yell at you. He didn't ever make you feel bad. He said the truth.
No, he made me feel bad, but not that's what makes you feel bad.
The way he said it.
But you know that wasn't his intention.
I know, that's what made it feel worse.
And that's another, and that for some reason makes you feel bad.
I know. It's like the scum of the earth. You just be like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that I made you have to talk to me about this.
Let me have a car. I'm a walk.
Yeah, I know my way back home.
I don't care. It's 30 miles. I don't care. I deserve it. Yeah, that's some of this stuff we gonna save because we over an hour and a half. Some of this stuff we gonna save for y'all when they come back on.
Oh, dang, already?
Y'all gonna get some
one of my segments for today because of the time. I thought about that, but
no, she don't have
cool.
a diva fan. No, she don't. Diva lashes and diva fan.
I just wanted to say that.
Let me just say this, and we're gonna move on because as we talked about that, this made me think about this, and I thought about this the other day. When we didn't get a lot of whoopings when we were growing up, we just didn't. But mom and dad were always different in this. If mom asked you, "How many times have I told you this?"
I remember. I have a memory. I have a memory of being not that old, and I tried to think of a number because I just was like, she asking me. But my thing was, I was at the age where I thought she was legitimately asking me a number. Like I had a count. I was just like, I was like, she wants a number. Like I didn't understand the whole ins and outs of this conversation. Like she wants an answer, but not necessarily like 5,000. Like she don't want to. But I was just like, oh, she asked me a number, so she wants a number.
Well, it depends. Because sometimes she wouldn't, because sometimes mom would be, she remind me of like Claire Huxtable, and she'd get worked up and you be talking and then mom would be like, I'm still talking, don't speak. And you like, can you just tap me in and let me know?
But I really don't know what to do right now.
What is happening? Yeah.
I really just don't want this whooping.
Really? So, if we can just compromise on that.
Give me the tips.
But when I was little, and I'm just saying this, and please listen, we have the best parents in the world.
Oh
but
God,
this
yes.
I would click and do this one, and this is like before y'all was even born, and I would try like the devil made me do it.
We all tried.
Yeah,
that.
you know
children.
I don't think I ever tried that.
I'm sure Angelique probably didn't try it. You tried that one, Sean?
Heck yeah, I tried it. Why not?
It just got me beat more.
By the time,
you want to be smart?
We're not gonna say beat. We're not gonna say beat. Our parents did not beat us.
It got me that word. It got me longer at the altar.
Yeah. But I will say, like I never said the devil, but I know I was the one that was like, I don't want to be in trouble, so don't tell me nothing. And I'll be mad if you tell me something and they ask me, I'm finna tell it. Because I don't want to.
This was my thing with Daddy. When Daddy would come in the room and he would say, Leya, why are you making me do this? And I was like, I'm not. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you don't want to do it, you ain't got to do it. Now I will say. Wait, when Daddy would say, this is hurting me more than it's hurting you, and I was like,
lies in the seat.
Maybe you don't know what it's like on this side.
But I will say, our mom had that whatever was in her jeans.
That
talking to.
You be like, please hit me.
You can whoop me now. You can go. Let's go for it. Whoop me now. I don't care. We don't need to talk no more. But
that's the Burns thing because Uncle Chris is like that too.
Yes. But let us not be on here because I said we're gonna save some of this stuff because we're gonna have them back on fairly soon. So
goodness.
We gonna have all this conversation. I will say about
Daddy, when Daddy would get done, he would sit down and then he would talk to you afterwards, and then he would want to hug you And then he would be like, this was really hard for me. And I would be like,
was it though?
I don't really feel like talking right now.
But the thing was, I used to feel bad.
But now that I'm a mom, I understand it and I appreciate him for it. But back then I was like, this little fraudulent little conversation you having right now.
I don't know if it's because I'm not. I don't know if it's because I'm not a mother yet or not.
Well, let me whoop you then. Let me see. Let's compare.
Yeah, I might be because I'm not a mother yet or not. I don't know, but I'm like, I still feel some alts in my heart.
You gotta release that and let it go.
The next time we take communion, you put them whoopings on the altar.
we gotta take communion. Hold on a second.
Put them with your crackers and your juice.
I just wanted to say before we move on to
I released
the topic, that it's where we're talking about Daddy-Daughter Day, that I think it's really important. Like, I know that there are times when fathers might feel like maybe they're not where they want to be in life, so they're not in their kids' life and they're not in their daughter's life. But it doesn't matter where you are in life, or how ashamed you are of where you are, how guilty you feel. You have to let your daughter know that you see her and you care about her and you love her.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much money you make, but you can't underestimate how important you are in her life. Never underestimate that. Always work to be a better person, but don't wait till you're a better person to let your daughter know that you love her, you see her, you care about her, you're going to protect her the best that you can, you're going to provide for her the best that you can, and that she's seen and appreciated and loved by a man that's her father. Don't wait. And that's all I want everyone to say.
That's perfect.
Daddy was great at, and I think that helped us a lot. He did that from like the beginning. He was good at that.
Yeah. As I say, we're joking around and whatever and stuff. But I'm like, I can speak for me. I never, like, even today, like, I know if I started dating a guy seriously tomorrow, I know if he tripped out and acted crazy, my daddy's there for me. I can be like, Daddy, this has happened. I know he's there. And so I'm like, I don't, I'm thankful for that. And it's like, I know people, like friends, acquaintances my age that don't have that. And I've seen how that has affected them. Like a girl that used to be not a girl. She's my same age. We're not girls. But she didn't really have that from a father point of view, of a father that she knew could be protecting her, and it affected her. Like it affected her in the long run. So it makes a difference. It makes a difference.
So I'm gonna move quickly into my little segment I have. So today is also that World Diversity Day, and I actually didn't have a whole lot to say about diversity. And my tablet is down, of course. I think it's on the phone. That's why you have multiple thingy-bobs.
Yeah, you need your thingy-bobs.
You need your thingy-bobs. Devices. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go briefly. So when we talk about diversity, I think that the most important thing to talk about diversity, and I think about it from like a community standpoint, is what it exactly means, like the state, and that's just the state of variety and being diverse, and the practice of involving a range of people of different social and ethnic backgrounds and genders and orientations, and bringing everybody together. And I look at even just the community I'm in, and it concerns me that we don't see enough diversity still. I see it changing. I don't see it enough still in communities in general, and I don't see it enough in church. And it just, I feel like we still have to keep working at that. And I think that and I say we, I mean just people in general, when we think diversity, sometimes we get very tunnel vision. And so we'll think, oh, well, we got the Black person, or we got the brown person, we got the Latino, we got the Mexican person, or we got the Asian person, or we got the woman. Now it's diverse. That's not diversity. That's not inclusion. That's just one thing. Or you got a young person. That's not, that's almost insulting. That's not diversity at all. That's a step. But when you're just doing that, that's just a pebble in the water, it's just making a tiny ripple. But we want to, keep things going and watch it grow. And so it should be, true diversity should be colorful, and it should be broad, and it should look diverse. It should look different. It should not look all the same. And so that's what we're looking for. And so to me, very quickly, when we're looking at our community, our workspace, our church area, when we're looking at what we're bringing together, well, what separates us? And I think that's where we start. And I think we don't look enough at what separates us. And I think we get so stuck on race, but that's not all that separates us. So that's not what we should be bringing together. So it's race, and race is not just separated by just color. You got race, and then you got ethnicity, because you have different ethnicities inside of races. And so you have different cultures. So, you can have me and you can have an African. So you could have two people with brown skin, but that can be two different cultures. Mm-hmm. And so, are you making sure that both cultures are together when you're doing something? A lot of times people don't even bother to know that there's different cultures in a community. They don't know
brown is brown.
They don't know that, or even know that the person with the brown skin you're assuming is Mexican. That person could be Greek. That person could be Iranian. That person could be Filipino. That person, you could be way off the beam, and because you're not even talking to them. People from the Dominican Republic have very, very dark skin.
Oh, and Colombia too, yeah.
So right, so you don't even always know who's in your community because you're not bothering to know them at all. And so so looking at race, looking at ethnicity, looking at age. So are you looking at all the age groups? A lot of times, I've had to do more work, not had to, but chosen to do more work in the community just in the last year where I live. And just so looking at different demographics. And so, are you making sure that every age group in your community, in your church, or wherever you're focused at is being reached? Because a lot of times they aren't. And it definitely isn't a lot of times in church settings. So a lot of times the younger people aren't being reached. Or if you have a church that's focused on young people, the older people aren't being reached. Everybody has to be equally reached. And in communities, that's happening. It's happening way too much in our communities. We're not effectively reaching every single age demographic. So sexual orientations, listen, the world is changing. Accept it.
Yeah.
Hello.
And so you need to make sure that you are embracing every single person.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to date who everybody else dates. You just need to make sure they're included. It's that simple. Yeah, I just spoke about culture identity, gender identity, everybody that everyone the different physical abilities. So we're looking at people with disabilities, and making sure that everyone again is included. So when you're doing different things, when I was doing a lot of special events, making sure that people with all different we don't use the word handicap too much anymore, but capabilities
capable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
can
act word.
and be able to participate all and what that means for what you're doing, and in your community, even just is that being addressed? Because every community, it's not even being addressed. So and then this is very important when we're considering diversity and inclusion. Are we looking at mental abilities? Well, what does that look like? That is a broad spectrum, and I promise you that we're not doing that. That's everything from schizophrenia and the major things like bipolar to things like autism and depression. And so, are we making sure that all the resources are there for people who need them? And are we checking on the people who need to be checked on? Are we helping single moms and dads? Are we making sure the elderly are okay? Are we making sure more and more children are needing help in this area? And are we making sure that our communities are strong enough to function the way they need to function? Our veterans are grossly overlooked. I'm a major advocate that nobody should come back from being deployed and come right back to their families. I think they should. They need to have time where they can get back to themselves.
And be reintroduced.
Need to decompress and heal.
Right.
They need to almost come right back into therapy. Like when they come back, go like not even a question of you need it.
The other things that can divide us, so that we need to look at what brings us together, or what we need to become diverse in, is education. So, when we're wanting to become closer as a community, as a church or whatever, what have you, education shouldn't be the thing that divides us. So it is too many times. So then we'd have to reverse that. So then how do we become more proficient in this area? What do we make more available? How do we make sure people are getting the places they need to getting to schools, getting to GED centers or whatever that they need, and making sure that that's possible for them. And helping after school programs and reading programs, and making sure, too many communities have way too many people that can't read. So that shouldn't be okay.
And I'm not saying they're not everywhere, but I remember when I remember a guy I worked with got hired as a manager at a place I worked at, and I didn't know, nobody knew till I was trying to tell him something, and I realized he didn't know what I was saying, to like how to train. Like I was almost training him, and then I found out later, because our mom taught adults how to read. And still does, but she was teaching adults how to read. She knew him and had been teaching him how to read, and I just was like, so this man, that he wasn't in his 60s, 70s. He was maybe in his 30s and couldn't read. And I'm just like, I don't even understand that. It's I don't. How does that happen?
Because they memorize stuff. They teach themselves how to get by.
Not that part. Yeah, that part I know. But like, how does like, because of how we were raised, I'm just like, how does that happen? Like how do you go through 30? Well, I would say 30 years, 25 years of just not. You just don't know. And it's just like it was irritating to me in my work environment, but it's sad in just the real world of somebody at that age. You don't know how to read something. So it's like in my mind I was like, something that basic, how do you not know? But it happens. It's a thing. It happens.
So some other areas that we need to focus on when we're dealing with bringing ourselves together are the areas that tend to divide us. And a major one that we definitely have seen a lot of our life is citizenship, but even deeper than that is religious belief. And we've got to get to the point that stops dividing us. You can be in the presence of someone who believes different than you, and you can be okay with that and even love them and accept them. And we have got to stop trying to convert and change everybody.
Exactly.
And be good with some. And so when we are looking at strengthening our communities, strengthening our areas, we can sit with our fellow men, and we can sit with someone else that believes different. And a lot of times if you sit and talk to somebody, a lot of people don't believe so different than you.
No.
Right.
Faiths are not so different than yours.
Yeah.
But even if it is, that should just be okay,
Yeah.
And because you should just be able to look at another human being and respect them for that.
Yeah.
And be able to see the humanity in them and find the humanity in yourself and be able to find a common ground there. Because number one, I have done so much community work, and I always say, well, I'm hurt when I find when people are struggling with why other ministers can't all sit and pray together. And I say, well, a group full of parents, we're all parents. We can't pray for our kids. We all got the same issue with children.
Exactly.
To be safe. We live in the same city. We don't have the same concerns for our city. We're all citizens in this city. Like certain things, we should just have a common ground, a common desire for. Those things concern me when you can't even get past those type of things. So, so learning those things, family status, relationship status, socioeconomic status, life experiences, job function, place of work, employment status, those type of things tend to divide us. But we can get past those things, seeing what divides us, and look past that, put those things aside to come together as a community, as a neighborhood, as a people of faith to strengthen ourselves. We will understand what diversity and inclusion really is. We will be able to be better people. Then, other things, of course, are, political beliefs and different things like that. But just being able to see better, think better, be better. So today is National Diversity Day. Today, today's almost over, but today is still a day where you can think about how can I add diversity in my neighborhood, be a part of diversity where I am, and be a leader in that, bringing change in my home, in my work, in my school, in my church, on my job. Yes. And be a trailblazer, be a leader, and everyone who was major in creating change didn't set out to be a Martin Luther King or a Mother Teresa. These people just knew they wanted to create change where they were. And so start where you are. Some simple suggestions on how you can start with creating change. And of course, we're not saying after today, then is wait till this time next year. The things you can do is, host a potluck meal with participants. Now, I'm gonna tell you now, Leah's not the biggest fan of potluck meals. After growing up in church, it's just not my favorite.
We got some stories. We go make a note. We go say them stories because we got some stories.
Go to KFC or or Little Caesars or what have you. But however you bring your food together, but host a dinner, or maybe you just want to cook everything yourself. That's my personal preference. But host a meal and bring people together that represent. The point is to have people bring together a dish that represents their ethnicity or favorite food, and explain that so that you can get to know them. So I understand this. Invite speakers from different backgrounds to speak to your group about their traditions or their challenges that they have faced related to diversity. You can have a diversity-related coloring contest or essay writing contest. Clearly, that is for children. Create art that is diversity featured or themed. Have a celebration or festival that brings together different ethnic groups to celebrate. I've actually done that, and that is very, very, very fun. Bring together different religious groups to learn about each other or pray for the world peace together. I have done that several times. That is one of the most rewarding things I've done in ministry and just in working in a community. Explore different cultures through art forms, poetry, music, crafts, traditional costumes, language. Have an art show featuring local diverse artists, or a poetry reading, or a concert. That would be fun. Rent movies that deal with diverse topics. You can do that as a community, or just do that with your family.
Oh, for some reason I thought you said rent movie. You said rent movie. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm all for the movie Rent, but
for some reason my first I was like rent movie. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Rent movie. Go ahead.
Short videos that feature different ethnic dances, music, and that would be amazing. Display a photography exhibit of different cultures. Or have a display or a flag ceremony of different nations and flags. We've done that in our church a few times.
Yeah.
And that's always something awesome to do. So there's different things you can start with in your home, in your neighborhood, in your church, in your community. Just get started today. The other thing I was going to talk to you all about is Monday is World Homeless Day, and I'm just going to talk about this for the next 5 minutes, and then I'll be done. I am the area coordinator for Florence, for street store for the homeless. And so,
you want to say where? Because it's a few Florences.
Florence, South Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I think it's a Florence, Kentucky too.
It's a Florence, Italy. We talking about Italy now.
We in Florence, Italy. Boom.
So just very briefly, the 10th is World Homeless Day. It is observed internationally on the 10th of October. You can follow progress at hashtag World Homeless Day 2022 on Twitter for the latest updates and ideas for the next year. And homelessness is important to me. It's important to me. It's always meant something to me, but became more important to me when my family and I, specifically my previous marriage and my children, were displaced. I have no problem being a little transparent. We lost our home, and for 3 months, what was supposed to be 2 weeks became 3 months. My children were living with friends. I lived out of my truck. That is when I found out that to be homeless does not necessarily mean you're on the street. It means that living in any dwelling that is not your home. So because I was living in my truck, I was homeless. And trust me, I was homeless. And
don't ask me what I mean, how I feel about the situation, because that'll be a whole different.
We didn't. So, and then after that, we lived in a motel for a while, which still is homeless. So, living in a car, living in a hotel, living on someone else's couch, living in someone else's home, all of those are considered homeless.
It's not when you're not in a steady.
Any place that you're not paying rent for that's not yours is homeless. So I know that the previous thinking was living on the street. But again, unless you're living in a place that you're signed on the lease for, or the mortgage for paying, that if it's not yours,
or city registration,
so homeless. So I know some people just probably feeling really sad.
Yeah, I know. They were like, I've been homeless this whole time. If you rent a place,
sorry,
you're not homeless.
But
if you rent, you're not homeless. We're not talking about y'all. If you rent a place, you're still fine. But yeah, if you don't have
statistics are statistics. But going through that taught me a whole lot, and also the unfortunate thing was when we got to where we could stay in a hotel, there was probably 3 other families that I knew personally living there, and other people were preachers too that were living there as well, that were displaced. And at the time, it's so funny. At that time, my children couldn't still even tell the school district that they were living in a hotel because they were at risk of being taken from me. Within 2 years, so many people were displaced and homeless, living in motels, that it is now on the registration forms and it's acceptable to be living in a hotel, and it's not a major deal. But that's
in some ways it's good, in some ways it's still sad that they had to.
It's very sad to me. It's sad to me that so many families have experienced that. But it's better to me that nobody should have to have that type of fear, because it was fearful for our family.
It was.
But going through that made me definitely want to help and be a voice and just be there for as many other people as I could. And while I definitely want to help those who are living on the street, I want to help those who just are displaced, because I just know what that feels like. It's embarrassing. It's painful. It's humiliating. And listen, life happens, I lost my job, and I don't have a problem saying that. If I wasn't lazy, I just got fired,
Yeah.
And it just is what it is. So thank God I had the truck.
Because I remember that car. Thank God.
Thank God I have a little SUV.
Yeah, for one person, you had some space to actually be. I still don't like that it happened, but I'm glad you had it.
But World Homeless Day is celebrated around the world in every country with the exception of Antarctica. And so we want to join in and giving attention to it and help make a difference. And so we will be tweeting out some things and posting some things on the 10th as well. And some ways that you can make a difference is educate people about homeless issues. Mm-hmm. Celebrate and support local good works, highlight local issues in the media, donate to local service providers, volunteer and provide hands-on help, thank volunteers with certificates and awards, invite a guest speaker, host a housing summit, release new funding, tweet World Homeless Day 2022 at Homeless Day, collaborate and double your impact, be a part, use local networks to rally greater support with schools, places of worship, sporting and service clubs, local businesses, your job, anywhere else you could think of. Come together and be a help and use your voice. Because a lot of times people who are homeless, they don't have the courage or the strength to use theirs, so use yours.
Yeah, it would have to be a lot of work to just even say for some people to admit that they are.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have hosted pop-up stores, and I have not done it in a couple of years. So I will be hosting another street store, pop-up store, which will be, unless it's freezing cold, it will be outside in December. By the time we come back next Friday, I will probably have the date for you where it is going to be. They're always outside. That's the purpose of the street store, is it's a store outside on the street.
Can't be a street store in a store.
Sometimes we are in a building when it's really, really cold, but the organization really encourages you to have them outside, because what they found out is that homeless people are very uncomfortable going inside buildings because they're usually thrown out. So they're more comfortable outside. So we set up our stores outside. And me personally, I always do more than we're required to do. So my stores, as my sisters know me, I always do more than necessary. My stores look like Walmart. I have a men's section, a children's section, a toy section.
And you should. Honestly, if you're
they're like, just get the clothes and put them outside. And I was like, no, I treat them with as much dignity as possible.
Yeah.
So
if you're doing something for people that are displaced, do that. Yeah.
Donations. As soon as I get the date, I'll start collecting donations in the Florence, South Carolina area. My past pop-ups have been just gigantic, and so I look forward to having them. And we also serve food. We serve a breakfast and a lunch, and we give people a hygiene bag as well. And one thing that
hygiene bag sounds so good,
because I hadn't thought about, was we do a separate bag for women, because we forget women on the street.
Yeah,
it's stuff you need.
And we forget about that.
Ladies, it's stuff you need that you can't get.
So we want to make sure that we cover them and the things that they need. So that's really all that I wanted to make sure that I shared. And I'm going to actually slide the mic to Chantilly.
Okay. I think that next we're talking about forgiveness. Because we're focusing on forgiveness this month. And when I was thinking about this month and forgiveness, I was thinking about, like, what do we need to forgive ourselves for? Because I know it's always something that we need to forgive our own selves for.
Yes.
And that's always where we start first when it comes to forgiveness. So I was thinking, like, the older you get, I'm going to be 40 in a couple weeks. And it's like the older you get.
Don't say that, because now I know how old I'm going to be.
You start to deal with your health more. And then you start to be like, okay, well, if I would have just did this when I was younger, I wouldn't have to deal with this health issue now. Or if I would have, always the shoulda, wouldas, whatever. When it comes to health, when you're older, you start to think, ways you could have prevented certain diseases or certain issues that you have with your health. So how do you deal with forgiving yourself for not taking care of your health when you were younger?
Oh, wow. I've had to just face it and just let it go, because I've really been in that position, especially dealing with my current health, and it's nothing you can do. I can't change it. So I went through a blaming point, and it's just really kind of like what Daddy's been teaching. I have to forgive myself. And just embracing myself where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Could you ask the question one more time?
How do you forgive yourself right now for not taking better care of your health when you were younger?
Oh, wow. I don't want to go too deep because it's gonna go into mine, but I would say it's really. It's a part of it was just not knowing and not blaming.
Yeah.
It's not about excusing. It's about being just I didn't know better, and if I did, I would have done certain things. And I didn't. So go forward from there. Because you can't fix the past. If I could, there's a lot of stuff I would change. But but since I can't, it's just okay. It happened. I didn't know. I didn't do what I should have done. Go forward. and really just, you almost have to not ignore it or forget it, but just leave it there and acknowledge it. It's about acknowledgement. It's about acknowledging. Acknowledge it happened. Know what happened, especially when I got to a certain age, and just move past it. Move forward from that point. Really.
Mhm. Mhm. I think for me it's that moving into being 40. I've been thinking about turning 40 all year, and so it's made me think about a lot of things. And it makes you feel like, okay, so some people have this kind of understanding of the maiden, the mother, and the crone. So when you're younger, you're like a young girl. You're curious. You're just living life. You're not really thinking about consequences and things like that. But when you're in the mother phase, you start thinking and you start reflecting. You need to do the best you can for yourself. You know how important it is, or you start to understand how important it is to take care of yourself. And then you also start understanding how important it is to pass down information and wisdom to generations underneath you. And so how I feel about it is, once you know better, you do better. So once you understand, okay, the things that I did in my past, when it comes to my health, I could have did that better. I can't take it back. Now it's time for me to do the best that I can right now. But for the generations underneath me, I'm going to pass on the wisdom to make sure you handle this or handle that when it comes to your health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, whatever it is, because I've already went through that. So now it's my responsibility, being in the mother phase of my life, to pass this on to generations underneath me. And so that kind of gives me hope that even if I wish that I could have learned certain things earlier on, I can still pass it down to other generations so that they can have the information early on in their lives.
Yeah, right. Definitely. Can you explain those three phases? So, because crone sounds bad, and mother, if somebody's not a mother, if somebody's not, like, for me, in my point of view, if I'm not like, when I hear people, anytime I hear people talk about stuff from the mother standpoint, I'm like, well, I'm not a mother, so do I not acknowledge it? Do I not? So, like,
you don't have to have actual children to be in the mother phase. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, explain those three.
Yeah, you just have to be in a point in your life, just like I said, when you're in a point in your life where, like, you're 35, 40, 50, 55, you're in that mother phase where you've learned, you've had experiences, you've gained wisdom from those experiences, wisdom that you can pass on to somebody else. That's the mother phase.
Okay.
I can't say that I understand the crone phase because I'm not in it yet, but the crone phase is more like the grandmother. Okay. Like all wisdom, all. So
you would say, like, from like 60 forward, 60 age-wise, maybe, if you had to put an age to it.
If I had to, yeah, I guess. But I feel like it's more about the point in your life where you are, no matter what age you are. The maiden phase is all about being creative. Okay. It's about, just living life, being passionate. I would say the mother phase is about wisdom. It's a lot about wisdom, passing on wisdom, caring for other people. That's when you start to, care for other people more. The grandmother phase is you've basically done it all, you learned it all, and now you're passing you're giving with the mother phase, you're still kind of living. You've learned, you gained wisdom, but you're still living. And so you still have life to live, and you still have more things to learn in the mother phase. But in the crone phase, you're the grandmother, the great grandmother. You're just pouring out and pouring out and pouring out.
Yeah, I wanted to ask because it's like I don't, I can't speak for anybody else, whatever. But like I don't have biological children. Like I don't have children. I'm not married. I don't have stepchildren. Anything. So it's like, how would that factor into my life? But now what you're explaining, I would probably be in the mother phase.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how I interact with people that are younger than me and how they interact with me. I'm more in. I've would move past the auntie phase, and now I'm kind of in that of what people ask of me. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Because
the
I've
other
had
question
the life.
The other question I have: how do you forgive yourself from relationship and business mistakes?
When it comes to me and mistakes, I really try not to. I really try not to look at mistakes. You know, I really try to look at what can I learn from a move past. Because if I stick in that mindset for me of mistakes and what I did wrong, that's all I focus on is, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, and I don't go move past that because I'm stuck in that mindset of what I did wrong. So when it comes to mistakes, I really just look at not necessarily mistakes, but as what did I do that I can work on and not do again, is how I had to kind of learn for me. So I'll look at, okay, I did this, maybe I don't need to do that next time and do this instead, and kind of go from there, is what I do.
Yeah, I think I feel like the same way. Just everything is a journey. Everything is a learning process. Say, for instance, business. If you're getting into a field where it's in alignment with who you are, it's in alignment with your purpose. You like certain things about it, and then you get some negative. You get some criticism you don't too much like, or none of that stuff is going to stop you. If you know that you're on the path that you really want to be on, it's not going to stop you. It's going to help you learn. It's going to help you move forward, if you allow it to, but it's not going to stop you. And I think as long as you're learning and as long as you're patient with yourself, then, business and relationships, as long as you're learning and you're patient with yourself, no, you're not the first person who went through the things that you went through, and you're not going to be the last. It's not something wrong with you. A lot of people go through the mistakes and challenges that we go through in business and relationships, but as long as you're learning from those challenges, then that's how I feel. That's how I feel with it. Don't get stuck in guilt and shame.
Yeah, and that's what I had to kind of like get past myself from, like, not focused on like, Angie, you messed up, like that type of mentality, because it doesn't help, and all it does is just keep me stuck in that ball. It's not even a bubble, because a bubble is nice and pretty. It's a ball. And so it's like, once I figured out, okay, so get past you made a mistake and just look at what could I have changed to do something else and not have had that outcome. It kind of just made a better, and I'm not going to say because sometimes I do get in that mindset of you messed up. It's it's not magic. It's not going to happen every time, but it's just working on myself of getting to that point of not that shame, that blame, that it's a process. It's a process.
Yeah.
When people say that and you see that on like YouTube videos and people are like, whatever, it's a process. It is work. It is something you have to constantly keep telling yourself, don't, come on, work through it. Come on now, you know what you got to do. So, that's, that's really what I have to do. It's like, it's a constant of talking to myself out loud sometimes, mentally sometimes, and just be like, okay, do this. Okay. Don't blame yourself. Don't punish myself. Don't whatever, and just, okay, go from there. Work through that. So that's really what I do.
Okay, so Renee had her phone muted. That's what I have for forgiveness. I don't know. Let's see what's next.
Angelique is next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I have, speaking on National Plus Size Appreciation Day. Thompson, hello. And Mental Illness Awareness Week. I honestly, for me, I can speak for me, those really both go together because, like, my thing is, I'll speak to who I need to speak to about, but I don't just put my business out in the streets. But when I got into plus size modeling and that, it was almost a way of telling myself, you are attractive. You don't have to get into that. Let's fix the, this and that and Photoshop that. It was like, go out there and just be you. So that, that was something I did for myself, and then other people liked it, and I was like, okay, cool. But, me getting into plus size modeling was not really was something I did for me. Everybody's reasons are different. I as a plus size person, I can definitely understand the mindset of, you're too heavy, you're not attractive because you're big, you're all the things, external and internal that can come from that. And a lot of people don't understand people that are, I won't speak for everybody, but for some people that are overweight, it's what you give people from externally, they beat themselves up way more internally than you would even understand.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you're going through the whole thing of outside of it being like, oh, you're this, you eat too much, internally, you can't even match that. So I was like, okay, when I decided to be a plus size model and start doing that stuff, it was just really like, okay, I need to boost myself up. I need to say, it is what it is. It's enough, but you are enough. You are beautiful. You are the size you are, the way you look is enough. And so when I got to that point, then I could start saying, because even now, I want to lose weight. It's not like I want to, be 600 pounds. Right. But because I accepted myself as what myself was, I could then go say, okay, I'll do this. I can accept myself as what I see and go from that. But a lot of it is just appreciating. If you don't like what you see, if you don't think plus size models are attractive, leave them alone.
Thank you.
It's as a female, a heterosexual female, I see men that I don't necessarily find attractive, but I don't go out of my way to say they're not attractive. Just be like, oh, okay, and live my life. So if you don't, nobody needs to hear your input to a negative degree. The internet has made that a thing. So, it's really just let people be in the body they're in. Let people live their life and go on with their day. Nobody is saying you have to find me the most sexiest woman in the history of women, or the most attractive plus size man ever. Like, nobody is saying that. It's just I've decided to put my image out into the world because I've found the confidence to do that. And if you don't think that person is attractive, because really that's honestly the attacks come from that. The people that thinking they're not attractive or not, whatever. Then keep it to yourself.
Right.
When I think of appreciation, it's just like appreciate the people's confidence.
Thank you.
I appreciate the I can't think of her name right now. I wrote it down. I think I accidentally deleted it. But the model that was on I went blank. Her fake show. That was the first ever
America's Next Top Model. Oh, Takara.
She was the first plus size model on there.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, as a young plus size female, I was like, to see her, that did so much for me. And then to see her then go from that to be a successful plus size model, I was wow.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't any plus size models. It just wasn't.
None.
They didn't. They weren't. I say they weren't mainstream. They might have been somewhere else, but they weren't mainstream. So to see her get to how she got to and become successful, I was like, you can be plus size and a model, and a supermodel. I didn't know that was a thing. So it's like, my thing is, if you don't think that's attractive to you, keep your mouth shut. Or just, if you do say it, just know people gonna probably say something about it. But yeah, I appreciate anybody at any size that goes out into the world and it's like, this is my body. This is what I want to put out into the world. I want to model. Even if they are, because even as my size, I've seen people have been like, maybe you shouldn't have worn that. But if I were to comment on it, I'd be like, I appreciate you. I'm proud of you for putting yourself out there like that. So it's really just, and it really just boils down to bullying. It boils down to people, stop judging. Like, a lot of it, just stop judging people.
Right.
Everybody out in the world is not trying to be attractive to you specifically.
I'm not.
And that's what some people get so caught up in. Some people is so caught up in, oh, they're not attracted to me. Okay, cool. But every person that's a plus size model is not trying to be attractive to you, James. They're just, they're just putting themselves out there. Like when I was taking photos more currently, actively, I wasn't trying to be attracted to one person. I just was like, okay, I want to take these pictures. I like what I'm wearing. I like how the pictures look. Here they are. And that's all I was doing, So it's really just, I think what it boils down to is let people be themselves. What it boils down to is let people be themselves. If you want to judge, fine, whatever. But let people be themselves. Let people express themselves the way they want to express, whatever it is. If you don't like it, you don't have to comment on it. You don't have to like it, but let them express. Yeah. I honestly got so many comments from, honestly, women that were saying, I love how you show, go down the runway, take pictures. You look so confident. You make me feel more confident seeing your pictures. And it's just like, that surprised me so much because I didn't do it for that. I did it for just because I wanted to. So when I started seeing that, I just was like, wow. What I'm doing is having an effect somewhere else. Yes. So when I saw that, I almost got more defensive because I was just like, I'm helping people. I'm letting people see you don't have to be a size 2 and be with the bras and wings and the angels on the runway. So that I think that was something I did. And then in a lot of ways, for me, I can speak for me, it really does blend into the mental illness awareness week, because I can speak for me personally. I went through a lot of things where it was like, I'm all the things that a lot of people don't understand, people that are overweight go through mentally, of the, I'm not attractive, I'm heavy, I'm lazy, I'm eating too much, I'm doing this, I'm doing, it's a lot of people don't understand the negativity some people that are overweight put on their self. And so, went through that. So I, me going out and taking a photo shoot in, say it as it is, in lingerie, helped me be like, you are attractive. And when I would see the, the pictures, how they came out, or the comments, I'm like, that's what y'all see? Because outside of the world, you're seeing, oh, well, if you're this size, you're not attractive. You're not this. So to see, even in a lot of ways, the outside validation did help in some ways for me to then say, you know what? You don't need the outside validation, but you got it. Now you can look for internal validation and see, okay, if you lose weight, whatever. If you don't, it's fine. But you are enough. You are good. You are attractive. You are whatever. You're not lazy. You're not whatever. Because I don't care what nobody says. Negativity helps nobody lose weight.
Right.
So, going through that, and then, having the other sides of the mental illness stuff, of the depression and the thoughts of, oh, well, what if I did stop eating? Would I be more attractive? Would that help me if I lost my weight, if I just stopped eating? Because I went through that. I went through that. And, mindset of, well, maybe if I stop eating and I lose weight, will I be pretty? So it's like a lot of people don't understand that, what that does to people. And a lot of people write it off as a lot of things. And then, I've had friends who have called me for depression and suicidal thoughts and so many things, and I know people that have borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder, so many things. So it's just like it's in the name. Be aware of mental illness. It is not excusing it if people have mental illnesses that are hurting families. It's not that, but it is being aware of what it might be. And the sad part is so many people in African American families don't really pay attention to it and acknowledge it. But some things you see aren't just people being jobbed. No, they could have an issue. He said somebody needs to go get some help on. So it's like really, don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed of getting people help. Don't be ashamed of, if you see something that's extreme, of being like, hey, maybe if this is not just them being goofy, this person, but they might need help. So let's get them help. And I'm thankful that there's so many things out in the world now that are more helpful. The better helps and the things like that are really out there now that help people to get the mental help that they need. And it's just like, you really just need to be, I would say for me, I'm the person that's just like, if I think you need help, go get help. I'm pro therapy. It's like, go get the help you need. Like don't ever be like, oh no, you don't want nobody to say you're crazy. Let them think you're crazy. Go get help. Like it's so many people that don't want to do that just because they don't want that stigma. And it's like, I'm appreciative even of celebrities that have said they go to therapy. Like, if you think you need help and you can afford to get the help, get the help. So that's where they almost blend in a lot of ways, because the plus size and then the middle, they really do kind of have a cross section. So definitely appreciate your plus size models you see, male and female, and be aware of anybody in your friends circles, family circles, everything. Just really be there for those people. And if you see something, and if that goes for, but people are using it for certain things, but honestly, even for mental awareness, if you see something, say something, or even just be there for that person. If you see something that's beyond just a quirky thing, be aware. Don't just take it as they're just odd. Be aware and look and be like, okay, if nobody else sees it, I see it, and I'm going to be aware. And just be there for that person if they need help. And that's, the older I got, I saw, you look past people just being quirky and being like, they might have issues. So that's really where I became in my life. We were supposed to be short. Awesome. We was about 2.25 hours.
It's been good. All right. I'm ready to wrap it up.
Yes.
Lily, one sister.
Chantilly Lily.
I'm here. Had to get something to eat.
You're gonna stop that. You're going to stop that, young lady.
We got some chili waiting on the stove right now. I'm ready to scoop it up.
Learn to eat your snacks before we start.
We got some chili waiting. It's right. I can smell it on the stove right now. I'm like, ooh, I'm ready.
Well, we kind of already did this when we were talking about Daddy, but this month is Clergy Appreciation Month and or Pastor Appreciation Month. And if you don't know by now, then you must be just tuning in for the very first time to know
for
that
the last
our parents,
10 minutes.
our parents are pastors and have been since 1994. And so we definitely want to In fact, get your phones, set your timer on your phone for 2 minutes.
Y'all got it set for 2 minutes?
Hold on, mine says it at 2 hours. Hold on.
No, don't set it for 2 hours. Hold on. Let me get my timer.
Right. We just quickly want to say something to just about our parents and just say we're grateful for our parents and the work they have done. So I'm going to go first, and then as soon as I'm done, it's going to go to the next sister. As soon as I'm done talking, I'm going to tag you. You hit. Is this going to go on timer? Okay, here we go.
Okay, why is it not? Go ahead. You the eldest.
Oh, I don't like that word.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, here we go.
Do we each get 2 minutes, or we?
You each get 2.
Okay, I'll wait till you stop.
You started into my time.
I didn't see my name.
All right, I'm starting again. Zip it. All right. So it's been an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to serve under you, Mom and Dad, for these years as your daughter, to be a member in your church, to be a leader in your church, for me to be licensed and ordained as one of the ministers and be a part of the ministerial staff and team. But more than anything, just to watch you and your life and ministry and see how you all serve and what you have done, what you have sacrificed, what you have given, and who you all are, for you all to show us and show me what it means to be a servant, that the number one thing it means to in ministry, it means to serve. And you have not just told us that, but you have shown us that day in and day out. And one thing that I'm proud of is that who you are at home has been who you are in the pulpit. And that for so many times we have seen countless times with so many different people in our lives that so many pastors are 2 different people, sometimes 3 and 4 different people. But I am so proud to say that you all are who you are 100% of the time. And it just makes me proud to call you my parents, my pastors, my leaders, my shepherds, my mentors. I thank God that I can be guided by you and led by you. And I'm just honor you. I salute you. I just want to encourage you to keep going. I'm always going to be here. You never have to be concerned about that. I love you. Is grown. Go my timer.
Go ahead, Shonda.
I just wanted to say, I think that when it comes to clergy and our parents, the thing that I appreciate daddies the most for is letting us know that we can have anything, letting us know how important it is to constantly educate ourselves in practical and spiritual things. And for Mom, it's I appreciate her for always for teaching us how to pray and teaching us about how to kind of navigate the spiritual world. That's basically all I say. I really appreciate those things. I just was.
That's good.
You been that copy anybody else's things, man?
I would like to say what Chantilly said. I would say that what I appreciate them for is being there for us, because I know as a pastor's daughter and knowing other pastors' kids, some pastors' kids didn't have the parents there that was for them and protected them. So I appreciate them protecting us from things that I didn't even know they were, right. Until later. So that's something I definitely appreciate them for, and just showing me what real godly pastors are. Not pastors that are, taking advantage of the sheep, and things like that. Doing it for their self gain, but just really showing them that what pastors are that are really there for the people, really there for us, and what really, actually teaching us from the word what pastors really are and what they're supposed to be. We really had I had amazing parents and pastors. So I have no desire to go to another church. I have no desire to look anywhere else because I got everything I need from them. So I appreciate them for the side of them that are parents, the side of them that are pastors, the side of them that are goofy enough to watch Melissa McCarthy on SNL. Like all the sides of them that I grew up with. Like I'm just really appreciative of them of showing me that. So
that's your alarm. 2 minutes.
Look at that. Boom, baby. Boom. I said appreciate that, and it said beep 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 beep. 2 minutes. Look at that. Boom. Hello. I appreciate them. Love y'all, mom and dad. See y'all in a month.
Chantilly, you have to sign off.
I thought she had stuff going on with the kids in the background.
Okay, so before we go, what does everybody have going on? How can you be contacted? How can you be reached? What's going on with you?
Let's start with the eldest.
You gonna quit using that word? You gonna quit cursing at me?
You know what, the eldest?
You can quit using them filthy language with me.
Let's go with the Leya Renee.
So right now I am working on a special event for families who are affected by autism here in Florence County. I'm very excited about it. That will be right around Christmas time. I'm just now piecing it together, so I don't have an exact date on the calendar. I'm looking at the second week, but it's just now coming together. But it's an arts night. It's a formal night, so it's going to be a very special night. So we're going to have poetry, spoken words, some musicians coming. It's going to be a special dress-up affair because I just believe in people doing their best, especially for young people. And we're going to dedicate the night to 2 very special young men here in Florence. And we're just going to have a really great time. And then, of course, we have the pop-up shop for the homeless as well around the holidays. And that's the 2 most immediate things on the calendar. And I also am working on a special event for This Is What a Fighter Looks Like, as well as some new merchandise coming up. You could always find me and my cause for cancer awareness and me blogging about cancer awareness and my writing about it, videos, pictures, and different things on all of my social media platforms. This Is What a Fighter Looks Like on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I was thinking Snapchat, but I didn't do a Snapchat account.
No,
you can find me on Snapchat at diamond_Leya. And I have a TikTok account, but I haven't done anything with it yet, so we won't do that right now. But I am going to start. My goal is to be active on TikTok in the next 30 days and my YouTube channel. So we're working on that. But so that's what I got going on. And yeah. Next.
You going next, Chantilly, or should I go next?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So I don't actively have anything going on, but you can find me at Facebook at Angelique Elijah +size model. You can find me on Instagram at Sparkle. This name is always so funny to me because I know where it came from. Sparkle _baby 85. It's from a movie. And then on Twitter at Angie Abe 85. All the links will be in our description on YouTube.
Angelique, I meant to ask you this. Are you still are modeling? Or are you still, I know you had went on a hiatus. Are you still modeling?
I am modeling for certain people. So if you are contacting me to model, I will model. But how and who I was modeling with before, I'm no longer modeling with. Okay. So if you contact me and you want me to do anything like print, video, anything like that, contact me and I'll do that. And you can reach me on the Angelique Plus Size Model Facebook page and the emails on that to reach me. And I'll definitely do that. So that's how I'm working with that. But I'm no longer modeling with who I was modeling with before. But definitely, I'm still open to it. But all of my links will be in our description on our video Monday.
Yeah, and I still model. Actually, I didn't even say that I model, but I'm a plus size model as well, and I still model. I took a break from it, but I do still model. Angelique does runway. I don't care to do runway, but I will. She can stomp a runway. She's amazing with it. I prefer print, but I like commercial and promos. Mm-hmm. But Angelique is amazing with a runway. Angelique is good with what's the look on? She's got like the model face. Like she's good. Like some people are like really smiley, and some people are like really Chantilly model too. You know what I'm talking about? Like yeah. I think I'm not good with it because people always accuse me of being looking mean. But Angelique just knows, like, she's got that. But you have to practice that look as well.
Yes.
I mean, I told y'all to get that mirror and look in it now.
And I've actually had people, look at my pictures on my model page and be like, "You not smiling? We not smiling." I'm like, "I'm not."
But all models don't smile.
I don't prefer to.
That from. Yeah. No. But I've been at your shows and I've watched you work, and I have to say, you are absolutely incredible. And our model styles are very different. Yeah. And we've done work together. And which I love working with you. And I've worked with both of you, which we're not good all together. I've realized that actually all three of our styles are very different.
Yeah. Like I'm not smiling. Like even though I'm laughing constantly when we do this, when I model, I'm nothing like that. Like,
no, you're very serious.
Yeah, I do a different look. Yeah.
All right, Chantilly, are you? I know you're gonna say where we could find you, but are you totally retired from modeling, or would you do it again?
Oh yes, definitely.
She retired.
You want to pray about it?
No, I never really started. I went to modeling school, but I never really got into it. But the main thing I was into was acting. Okay. Yeah, nah.
Would you coach? Would you consider coaching?
Coaching modeling?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, you just not about that life.
Yeah, that's I don't think modeling has ever really been Shawnee's thing.
I was just asking because we were just talking, but
yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Go ahead and give your links.
Yeah, you can find me on Fiverr.com, Chantilly. I do a lot of brand coaching, brand strategy coaching. It's really important for me to help women create brands that are in alignment with who they are and what their purpose is. So I do that. I also do astrology readings for career and business, and also love. So you can find me on Fiverr. You can find me on YouTube, The Business Spirit Guide. You can also find me on Instagram, The Business Spirit Guide. and I try to post at least once a week. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
And not even outside of being your sister, some of your videos have been amazing. Like I have been watching, like not even like out like because I watch a lot of stuff. So I'm like watching, like when you I get the pop up being like you post a new video. I'm like, ooh, when she posts, I'm like, ooh, this is good.
I've seen some of your videos. She's very good.
Yeah.
She's good at what she does.
Yeah,
so like very good at, and I've had some business coaching from her, and she's really good.
Yeah. But like all of our links will be on the
description
in our YouTube video that comes out on Monday.
Hey. All right. Thank you so much for being with us. We have really enjoyed you today, and we look forward to being with you all. As they say down here in the South, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We will see. We will see you all next week. So, oh my goodness, there's something moving. I don't like stuff moving, and I don't know what's going on. All right. Until next week, I'm Leah. I asked for some little red flag.
So little. And I'm Angelique.
She's Chantilly. And thank you for letting our family be your family. Have a good night.
I'm Chantilly. Oh my God, it was so easy.
Okay, restart. I'm gonna edit it. Start over. Renee, go.
Okay, until then, I'm Leah.
I'm Shadi.
And I'm Angelique.
Thank you for letting our family be your family, and you have a great evening.